combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live. And we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. And if you're brand new to the Jimmy Rants concept, welcome in. We actually have been doing this for several months now. It's starting to build in popularity. A lot of people are engaging in the content live. So if you want to engage in the content live, head on over to JimmyRants.com. And once you're there, you can actually see that we start off on Instagram. So go follow me there, LIVINLOWCARBMEN. And once you're there, you can engage live. But if you missed the live, you can watch the replay for up to 24 hours on Instagram. But it will disappear from Instagram after 24 hours. Never fear. We put all of the backlist and archives on YouTube. So go type in on YouTube or Google Jimmy Rants, and you will find some of the past episodes that we've done on this show. And then finally, if you like podcasts, we do have a Jimmy Rants podcast, which has the best of the best moments of this here show, JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants is all about what I like to refer to as the other F word. So when people start looking into nutrition, they might run across some people talking about fasting. So I wanted to talk about this here today. Intermittent fasting. When you go keto, you don't really have to think about it at all. So don't overthink this. A lot of people, they'll write to me because I've written a book with Dr. Jason Fung called The Complete Guide to Fasting. It's probably the only complete resource that shows you all the different kinds of fasting, not just intermittent fasting, but also alternate day fasting where you eat every other day, extended fasting where you push it a few days to a few weeks. We're the only book that does that I'm aware of. A lot of intermittent fasting resources out there. A lot of people have been talking about it. So why don't we define terms first? Maybe you're brand new to this whole fasting thing and you need some definition of what intermittent fasting means. Let's be honest here. You eat your last meal of the day, let's say at 6 o'clock. And you sleep overnight, and then you don't eat until the next morning at, say, 7 o'clock. You just fasted for 13 hours, okay? So that is a very short window of intermittent fasting, 13 hours. Some people get up in the middle of the night and they eat, like sleepwalk to the kitchen and then eat. And yeah, that's not fasting overnight, but most people do sleep through the night. So let's say you do that. So in the morning time, rather than eating at 7 a.m. after eating at 6 o'clock the night before, why don't you push until noon the next day? Now, if you're used to breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, midnight snack, that's going to seem a little whacked. How in the world can you skip breakfast? I thought breakfast was the most important meal of the day. We've all heard these mantras. A common refrain in these Jimmy Rants is all this stuff we've heard and how whacked most of it is. Okay, so we've heard breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I agree with that statement. I just don't think it has to happen at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, because the root of the word breakfast is actually, break it down, break, fast. So whenever you have the time when you break your fast, that's your break fast. That's your breakfast. So if you eat your last meal of the day at 6 o'clock the night before, your break fast can come at noon the next day. You just fasted intermittently for 18 hours. That's hardcore, you guys. That's really, really good. You get a lot of benefits. You give your pancreas a break. You lower your inflammation. You improve your insulin sensitivity. You lower your blood sugar, you lower your blood insulin levels. So many good metabolic things happen when you do these things. So that's why fasting is important. Now, some people say, well, should I fast in order to get keto adapted a lot easier, because people that want to be keto, they're trying to increase the ketones in the blood. And if you fast, fasting does induce higher levels of blood ketones. But it's going to hurt. If you try to do it without being fat adapted, keto adapted, you're just asking for pain. So the order by which you do this is, number one, give a crap about what you put in your mouth. Number two, start eating a low carb, moderate protein, high fat, ketogenic diet. Get fully keto adapted, which for most people will take somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks. You can test your blood sugar. You want to see that number fall below 90. You want to test your blood ketones. You want to see that number go above 1.0 on your Keto Mojo or whatever device you decide to test your blood ketones with. And so once you are there, and once you start feeling the benefits of being in a state of nutritional ketosis, nobody's got to tell you to start fasting. Because guess what? It just starts happening. It does. Spontaneously, you will start going long periods of time between meals. Spontaneously. It's so easy to do. I'll tell you what, I'm in the midst of doing a keto carnivore right now. So I'm only eating animal-based foods, mostly meats, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of things here and there, but it's all animal-based foods, but through the keto template. So 75% fat-ish and about 25% protein-ish. And the last 2 days, I have done a 21-hour fast yesterday. And then today, I was able to go, I want to say it was at almost 21 and a half, maybe 22 hours. I didn't count it up, but long periods of time without eating. And of course, this doesn't compute with a crowd of people that are sugar burners, because they have to eat every few hours or they're starving their butt off. And that's the difference. Go keto and don't overthink it, because your body's going to tell you, I'm cool. It's all good. We don't need any food. Go without eating. It's all good. I'm going to fuel you just fine with ketones. I'm going to fuel you just fine from the fat that you consumed in your previous meal. People like to really, really make this fasting thing hard. And I don't understand it. Go keto, get keto adapted, and what you'll find is it will happen automatically. So if it happens automatically, you don't have to think about it. You just do it. So this is something I see again and again, people talking about intermittent fasting. Oh, I want to try this brand new thing, intermittent fasting. Everybody in the world, even the veganist of the vegan and the Mediterraneanist of the Mediterranean dieter, all of them incorporate fasting into their life. All of them, when they sleep. The period of time by which you get benefits from intermittent fasting is at least 16 hours, okay? 18 hours is a pretty decent fast, and I would highly recommend, if you're going to try to do a regimen and structure of an intermittent fast, make 18 hours your goal. And again, it's very easy. 6 o'clock the night before, it's your last meal. Don't eat again till noon the next day. So what that does is it goes 6 p.m. till noon the next day. Then you get an eating window of noon to 6 the next day. So a 6-hour eating window, you can get 2 meals in. You could eat at noon, eat again at 6, start it all over again. And when you eat keto, you fall into kind of this 1 to 2 meal pattern anyway. You guys notice that when you are fully satiated and you're fueling your body with exactly what it needs in the form of fat and protein and minimal carbohydrate, you really don't eat more than once or twice a day. Yesterday, I only ate 1 meal. It was 1 big meal, but I had 1 meal. Today I've had a meal. I'll probably eat a little something more before the end of the day, but that's just the body being very well adapted to running on fat for fuel. And this is such a foreign concept to people, again, that are sugar burners. So you talk about that you're fasting. Number one, don't tell people that you're fasting. And when you don't eat at structured meal times, breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack, midnight snack, people look at you two-eyed. But you're the normal one. Eating that many times a day, we were never meant biologically to eat that often. throughout the day. You weren't. You weren't meant to be eating constantly every couple of hours. That's just not natural. So the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is intermittent fasting, go keto, and then don't overthink it. Let your body do the talking. Let your body tell you, hey, look, dude, I'm good down here. You don't need to put anything in the mouth this time. Let's just chill a little while. And your body will get such great benefits when you do that. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Stoddy Base. Hello, Grandma Does Keto. All my good peoples are here. Keto Couple Bandit, what do you think of the South Beach doing keto meals? Well, I'm not answering general questions, but I did a whole Jimmy Rants all about South Beach diet going keto and how whacked that is. So go find that old Jimmy Rants, type in a keyword search Jimmy Rants and South Beach and you on YouTube, and you will find that video where I put another into them. Hello, Ashton. Thanks for being here. Bullock in 2018 says, eat when hungry, pushing it a little longer. And see, this is the thing too. And I talked about this in my Jimmy Rants earlier today. When you go keto, being hungry isn't the same on keto as it was when you were a sugar burner. Being hungry on a sugar burner, it was, I'm hungry. Being hungry as a fat adapted person, you go, I could eat. There's no panic involved. So big difference. And it is easy to push it just a little bit longer. Hey, Russ, thanks for being here. Oscar says 100% agree. Crystal says, I agree, and I think you function better when you fast in the morning. And I agree. I don't think I've had a traditional breakfast where I eat in the morning before 11 a.m. Sometimes I'll have a meal at 11 a.m., but I rarely eat at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm up early, you guys. Typically, I'm up around 5 a.m. and hit the ground running with my work. So I would have opportunity to eat early in the day if I wanted to, but I don't. I don't need to eat that early. And no, I don't do bulletproof coffee and all that nonsense either. I just don't. By the way, if you do bulletproof coffee and you think you're intermittent fasting, stop fooling yourself. No, you're not. No, you're not. Getting a big bolus of liquid calories from fat is not fasting, okay? So let's stop pretending like that's an intermittent fast. It is not. If you're adding calories to your diet in hundreds at a time, that is not fasting. All right, that's all I'll say about that. Jesse says, I've fallen out of sync with intermittent fasting. I nibbled a bit of keto food during the holidays. Today, I'm back on 17 hours fasting, 7 hours eating, working back to 20 hours of fasting with 4-hour eating window, eventually OMAD at least 3 days a week. And Jesse, it happens naturally, my dear. You don't have to force this. So it's okay if you had a little bit of dalliances at the holidays. I just got back some blood work, and I had a little more almond flour and stuff like that than I would normally have during the holidays when my sister was here. And so that reflected in my triglycerides. But now that I'm back and I'm doing this keto carnivore, that number should come way down again. So no, don't sweat it. You'll get back to the intermittent fasting. And it happens when you've been keto adapted and you happen to just maybe take some time off or whatever, or not be as strict. Getting right back on it, it usually comes back pretty quick. Shay Unfiltered says, I accidentally intermitted fasting, having great relief from recurring anxiety with keto carnivore effortlessly. Cheers from Australia. Good eye, Shay. Thanks for being here. And kudos to you on keto carnivore helping you. Abby said, 04, I'm not a diabetic or pre-diabetic, but my waking fasted blood glucose is always around 100. How do I bring it down? You may not need to. I have addressed this before as well, you guys. Please go watch my previous Jimmy Rants. I know it's a lot of content, but I've addressed a lot of these issues that come up in these questions on these Jimmy Rants. higher blood glucose in the morning is not as big an issue as you think it is. Look at what happens with the blood sugar the rest of the day, and look at your A1C. Those are the things that tell the tale of how you're doing. Crystal says, wait an hour and it'll drop. Yeah. And it's okay that you have higher blood glucose in the morning. It's called a glucose sparing effect. It's not a big deal. And even within the context of a fasted state, it's going to be a little bit higher sometimes. With this keto carnivore, I'm trying to find, I have one more continuous glucose monitor, Freestyle Libre, the little thing I can stick in my arm. I have one more somewhere in my house. I'm trying to find it. And I want to see what's going on with the blood sugar while I'm on this keto carnivore. Now that I'm almost a week into it, it should be giving me some good data. So hopefully I find that soon. Keto Selena says, intermittent fasting is natural for me on keto. My problem is that hunger signs are different for me on keto. No grumbling tummy. I will go straight to feeling like I will pass out. Well, the key there is determining when that's about to happen and then hedging it. And if it means you have to hedge it a little bit ahead of what your body would do, I think that's fine. But if you feel like you're going to pass out, that's hypoglycemia. So try to work on the things that are causing the hypoglycemia, because I dealt with that. Getting the right macronutrient ratios when you do eat, and adequate amount of calories when you do eat, all matters with that, the way you feel. Jesse says, intermittent fasting kind of comes naturally, but it's easy to fall out of sync, especially when you're stressed. Thank you, Jesse, for bringing up stress. There are monkey wrenches that will make intermittent fasting or really your ketogenic diet a lot more difficult, because stress raises cortisol, raises blood sugar, raises insulin, makes you hungry. So if you're trying to fast and you've got your body in this stressed state, you have to think about it from a ancestral standpoint, that the only time that our ancestors got stressed was when they were being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. So you've got to think about when your boss is yelling at you, or your kids are driving you nuts, or your husband is doing something that's driving you crazy, or vice versa, your wife. Your body is responding as if you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger. And what happens is there's a lot of people that live in that state constantly and never stop being chased by the saber-toothed tiger. And so their bodies can't respond in a way that makes their metabolism relax, where they can do an intermittent fast. You're going to be hungry. And here's the thing. If you're in the midst of doing an intermittent fast, you have a goal of going 18 hours, yada, yada, yada. 11 hours in, you are starving. Please eat. Don't be the hero. There's no virtue in pushing through hunger pangs. Your body's trying to send you a signal. So in the midst of your day, implement deep breathing exercises. I've got a massage chair. I do all kinds of things to try to just reset and de-stress when that kind of comes on. And it's okay. We all go through those times. It's not a big deal. But you do have to be aware, as Jesse says, that when stress comes along, it makes it a lot more challenging and easier to fall out of sync. Russ, I make up all kind of Jimmy-isms every single day. So stick around to Jimmy Rants. You'll hear them all. I promise you. We'll write a best-selling book someday of the Jimmy-isms all in the same book. Ashton says, is it safe to do intermittent fast if you're diabetic? You better do intermittent fasting if you're diabetic. You, more than anybody, and I'm assuming you mean type 2 diabetic, you more than anybody need to lower your insulin levels, because a type 2 diabetic does not have a need for insulin. Insulin is the problem. And so I would look at fasting for a type 2 diabetic much in the same way I look at keto. The reason keto helps is why? Lowers blood glucose, lowers insulin, lowers inflammation levels, improves insulin sensitivity, all of that stuff. Well, guess what fasting does, but at a more accelerated rate? All those same things. So no, I think a diabetic, now again, talk to your doctor if you're on medication, and we did a whole Jimmy Rants on this last week about the lady who was doing keto and she was doing long periods of intermittent fasting, and she was still taking her diabetes medication. You may not need to be taking the level of drug that's controlling your diabetes when you're a carb burner. You may not need to be taking as much medication as you were when you go keto. And that's why people have this kind of concern about diabetes. People with diabetes going keto or fasting is, oh, their blood sugar will go too low. Not if they come off the friggin' medication that's making it go low to begin with. Keto is far powerful. Intermittent fasting is very powerful at lowering blood sugar, lowering blood insulin levels. And so no, a type 2 diabetic should not avoid intermittent fasting or keto. They just need to work with a doctor that gives a crap about them, who will adjust their medication and or take them off of medication. By the way, that lady was getting a hypoglycemic attack when she would do what she was doing, very low carb, very high fat, and periods of intermittent fasting. And she was taking one drug that was making her insulin get produced, and it was pushing her blood sugar down in the 30s. We took her off that one drug. I said, you know, I can't tell you to come off of it, but I said, if you want to give something a try, this is your decision. She decided to come off of that medication, and since then she's had no hypoglycemic episodes. Her blood sugar's been steady in the 70s and 80s, and she's doing great. So keto and fasting worked much more powerfully than the most powerful diabetes drugs they have on the market. And I'm sorry, those idiots that tell diabetics you can't do keto, you can't do fasting, they just want you to stay on the drug. It makes me mad. Crystal says, yeah, you're just not hungry. You really aren't. Lau Misha, that's my problem. I overthink it and then I fall off the wagon. Well, Lau, stop that. Don't do that anymore. Just live the life. Eat keto. Spontaneously, you'll start intermittent fasting. Just roll with the punches. I think, again, because we have lived most of our lives in diet mentality, people think they have to stay there. People think that, oh, well, I've always had to worry about this and this and this. No, you don't. No, you don't. Keto and intermittent fasting take all of that away. So when you go keto, you don't have to overthink this intermittent fasting thing. It just happens. Nancy Virginia Beach said, I had to take my husband to the ER one morning. Turned out he was okay, but first thing they went through my mind was that this would be an intermittent fast day, and that was fine. I'm not ruled by food. Yeah. Food doesn't really have a hold on you anymore when you go keto. Keto coach Russ says, when I was a kid, I was hungry before a meal. My folks told me at the end of the night, the kitchen was closed down till the next day. I love your parents, Russ. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Hey, Emily, thanks for being here. Grandma does keto, fell into intermittent fasting in mid-September after 6 weeks of keto. Then extended fasting started happening, 58 hours. Hardly noticed, but energy went zoom. Yeah. You want to go hardcore with your keto and see how what we talk about quite a bit is your keto fitness level of being able to go many hours without eating. Just try pushing your fasting window beyond like 18 hours. Go to 36, 42, 48, 72, or even all the way up to like a 5-day fast. You know you've hit something when you're able to go that long without eating. And no, you're not starving. Go read my book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, and you'll find out why. I have a cousin who's always hangry, but she thinks she's very healthy. Keto Nana. Again, keto fitness level. If you're hungry and you're irritable, there's something wrong. And she should be able to go many hours without eating, but it sounds like if she doesn't eat, she's going to bite your head off. BA Nation says, what about black coffee? What about black coffee? You can have that on intermittent fast. As long as you don't put gobs and gobs and gobs of the butter and coconut oil and MCT and all that stuff like Bulletproof. Black coffee is perfectly fine, as is tea. Unsweet, by the way. Bonnie Lene, being on keto, I'm never hungry. I'm excited to fast because I know my body is healing. Fasting not on keto, I would starve. Yeah. I would not recommend anyone who is not keto adapted to try to fast. Because think about it, metabolically, you're not prepared for that. Metabolically, your body is still burning sugar for fuel. And so if you're burning sugar for fuel and you only have about a 2,000 calorie tank worth of sugar available to you in your body, that's the glycogen stores, versus 100,000 calories worth of fat at your disposal to burn for fuel when you're fat adapted. I think it doesn't take a rocket surgeon, you know what I'm talking about, to figure out which one is the better modality. Mike Weatherly 12, I normally do 16 to 18 hours of intermittent fasting. It's easy for me, I guess. I also work out fasted as well. And thank you, Mike. I think working out in a fasted state is a great idea because your body basically is dumped of all the glycogen stores and you're totally fueling your body with the ketones, and it speeds up fat burning. It's so good for you. I got to get back into the regularity of my HIIT workouts that I was doing. I've got a big tractor tire. Maybe I'll do a Jimmy Rants flipping a tractor tire. You guys want to see that? I'll be doing that here again real soon. Jesse says, I weighed in today, 3 pounds back down since the holidays. I'm hoping intermittent fasting will keep me going. I plateaued 3 months ago with a 10 to 14 pound goal. Don't sweat it. It's not really about the weight anyway. It's about how you feel and all the other benefits that you're getting from this. Don't make your goal weight. Make your goal health. I find a half teaspoon of pink salt eliminates that pass out feeling. Thank you, Richard. Yes, you can certainly add in salt. Don't skimp on salt when you're fasting. Started carnivore recently. Been doing 1 meal a day for 1 month. Feels nice. Let's see how I do at the end of the carnivore experiment, says Alberto. I'm right there with you, buddy. I hate being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. That stupid cat. Meow. Yeah. Roasted 2 chickens for dinner. Oh, that's cool, Marie. And then you're going to fast, right? I love 1 meal a day because I hate cooking 3 times a day. It sucks, says Crystal. Yeah, there's no sense in doing all that. I'm off my meds thanks to keto, says Ashton. Great job. Diabetes type 2 equals sugar plus insulin. Sugar plus insulin. Sugar plus insulin. See, Alberto, you know this. You know this. All right, guys, let's see. I hit 5.5, 5.5 day fast. It was empowering, but I won't do it often, maybe every few months or so. Jesse, you can, 5.5 days, by the way, is hardcore. Most people have never fasted more than 24 hours. And anybody that did 24 hours did it by accident. That's a sugar burner. Keto adapted people can regularly fast for 24 hours, but I find a lot of keto people haven't even gone to like a 72-hour fast, which is just 3 days. I've done as long as 21 days 3 times, and I now find that somewhere around 5 to 7 days on a regular basis, you know, once every other month or so is probably good. What about using stevia on your coffee or tea on an intermittent fast? What we put in the complete guide to fasting is that you can stoke cravings if you use sweeteners. If you feel like you can do it and you don't get cravings, that's fine. But a lot of people, that taste of sweet while they're trying to relax their body can stoke cravings. And some people, Russ, believe it or not, just from the sweet taste can get an insulin response. So I'm wary of sweeteners when you're trying to deliberately be in a fasted state. I found green tea on a fast took me out of ketosis. Yeah, I don't remember if that was in the keto cure or not, Richard, but I don't like green tea anyway. BA Nations, is bone broth okay? Well, here's the thing. You're just talking about intermittent fasting. So if you're intermittent fasting, we're only talking 16 to 18-ish hours, right? Why do you need bone broth, right? Why do you need anything in that short of a fast? Bone broth would come into play if you're going like many days and weeks of fasting. Just intermittent fasting, and I hate to be so flippant about it, but intermittent fasting, guys, it's like sneezing. Achoo, there it went. Okay? So, no, bone broth during an intermittent fast, why? Now, eat your bone broth during your feeding window, but let your body relax and have no calories to have to deal with when you're fasting. When you're fasting, fast. When you're feasting, feast. That's when you eat the bone broth. Doc Nally says he doesn't want me to be concerned with the scale anymore. That's why I love that man, Jesse. But 14 pounds left to 100 pounds. How can I put the scale away? Just put it away. Just put it away. Because it sounds like you're obsessing about it. And I would say push your fasting window a little longer and you'll get there quicker. Okay? So trust that man. He's got a lot of wisdom under his belt. Again, if you have general questions, you guys, I am doing a Jimmy Rants show. So we stick to the topic that I pinned down at the bottom, which today is intermittent fasting. Go keto and don't overthink it. If you have general questions, you need to send those to me through a private message on whatever format that you're reading this on and watching this on. Or you can email me, livinglowcarbman@charter.net, livinlowcarban @charter.net. The best thing to do while fasting is get distracted with a hobby, TV, etc. Alberto's right. But again, short-term fasting doesn't need to be distracted. Guys, you're killing me. When you keto adapted, short-term fasting, which is defined as less than 24 hours, is not hard. It's not. And if it is hard, you need to go back to the drawing board and get your keto dialed in. And you need to make sure your blood ketones are over 1.0 and get your blood sugar under 90. Those are the things that will relax your body and allow you to easily intermittent fast without thinking about it. Now, if you're talking about going over 24 hours, okay, yeah, let's talk about distraction. Let's talk about, you know, when that wave of hunger hits you and what do you do about it and all that stuff. That's not what we're talking about here. Intermittent fasting should be so incredibly stupid easy, you don't even have to think about it, which is the point of this rant here today. When you fast and exercise, don't you become hungry afterwards? Not always. Bonnie, I would say most people who exercise in a fasted state actually have less hunger following the workout than they did before they started the workout. It's paradoxical, I know, but it's true. Put it to the test. See, I could sit here and jibber jabber all day long and tell you how things are going to be, but until you test it for yourself and see how you do, you won't know. So I encourage you, if you're watching this, you're worried about, oh my gosh, I got to distract myself when I'm intermittent fasting. Oh, what am I going to do if I go do a workout in a fasted state? Am I going to be ravenously hungry afterward? Test it. See how you do. Crystal says an 18-hour fast is easy. Having a gastric bypass, that's it for me. Yeah, gastric bypass and other weight loss surgery patients is a whole different ballgame because you can only eat just so much food at a time. Have a hard time hitting calories. Keto Nana. So, Nana, if you eat at noon and then eat another meal at 6, how do you not get all your calories in? And I would say if you have trouble getting your calories in, you're not eating enough fat, because you can very easily get your fat calories up. I've been posting my meals with this carnivore experiment, and one person I posted the calories, 2,400 calories I had in a couple of meals the other day, and they saw the picture of the food, and there's no way that's 2,400 calories. I'm like, dude, it's a lot of fat. And so it will get the calories up there pretty darn quick. I worked out fasted today, haven't in a while, got lazy, it feels awesome. See, Jesse? See, you know. B-Shop says, keep it simple, stupid. That's what I've been told. Yeah. Don't overthink this. Intermittent fasting is very easy when you go keto. I don't feel hungry for a while after working out while intermittent fasting. Keto girl Chris, thank you for sharing that. And I agree. All right, guys. So the bottom line is in this is if you want to intermittent fast, that is great. Don't push it. Let keto guide you on that. And don't overthink this. We get in our own head sometimes, not about just this issue, about a lot of things as it relates to nutritional health. So my 3 words to you is don't do that. Okay? That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com. You can see how we do this show. It's pretty darn unique, you guys, because we start off and do an Instagram live video 2 times a day, talking and ranting all about some topic in the world of nutritional health, usually, sometimes a little off the beaten path, but most of the time on nutritional health, specifically keto. And so go follow me at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN, and you can engage live just like all these awesome people did here today. And if you miss me live, watch it on the replay. I notice I get hundreds upon hundreds of people that watch it on the replay on Instagram. So thank you for that, you guys, if you're watching this on the replay. You can also access the past episodes on YouTube. Go find Jimmy Rants in a Google search or a search on YouTube, and you will find the show and watch the content there. And then finally, the Jimmy Rants podcast is on Apple Podcasts. Go leave us a review if you haven't watched it before or listened to it before. Go and leave us a review, listen to it. I think you'll enjoy listening back to the best of the best highlights of this here show. jimmyrants.com is the website. So until next time, we'll see you then.